ABC News is in really, really tough shape because ABC News, ladies and gentlemen, they are on federally controlled and owned airwaves, right? So MSNBC might have a little more wiggle room. Fox, Newsmax, all of these, by the way, they're doing great. The conservative networks are doing really great. CNN, but they have a little bit more leeway, if you would. So even though we look at CNN, we're like, they're super biased, MSNBC, same thing. It's one thing to be biased on cable. It's another thing to be biased on a broadcast network because those airwaves are owned and governed by the federal government. So you do have to answer to the FCC. So Bob Iger, who Elon Musk was talking about earlier, is in a whole lot of trouble here because you look at networks like ABC and you think about how Whoopi Goldberg was out there blaming Donald Trump. Remember how she was blaming Donald Trump for getting shot? Well, this actually is not really going to fly in a Trump administration. I mean, it never should have flown in a Biden administration. It's like nobody was home. Literally, nobody was home in more ways than one during Biden. And so the inmates were running the asylum and they were saying all kinds of crazy stuff on federally owned airwaves. Now, I'm not trying to censor here, but I think you got to be somewhat more responsible given who the real estate belongs to. Don't you think? Whoopi, she's in for it. I'm telling you, this is ultimately going to be Donald Trump's Christmas present to the United States because I don't know if she's going to make it through 2025. I really think there's a lot of pressure right now to get rid of the loons in mainstream media. And when you're controlled by the federal government, those airwaves, yes, you get your freedom of speech, but there are some limits to this. Here we go.
JD, clearly you've not been to one of your boss's rallies because you believe this insanity. I mean, he has been inciting violence since 2016, telling them to beat up hecklers, threaten to shoot looters and migrants. They have, I don't remember Bill Clinton about what was going on in his White House when it was sprayed by 29 shots. I don't remember Obama blaming opponents when his White House was shot up in 2011. You have to really take a look in a mirror to see the reflection. One of the reasons that everybody has survived is because the Secret Service has been doing their job. Let's start with that. So quit blaming folks until you decide to take a look at what's coming out of your mouth. You didn't want to tell people that it was a lie that you've been talking about when you're sending people to go against folks in the community, in Ohio. You know it's a lie. But you talk about, well, Joy, you're going to bring it up because you know what he did.
J.D. Vance.
Yes,
but
talk about it.
Okay, so I'm showing you that because I want you to remember, again, here's Whoopi saying that maybe it's just Trump's fault that he was assassinated. And she's saying this on federally owned airwaves. So there's a new head of the FCC coming in, Brendan Carter, and my expectation is he's going to be a lot stricter than the Biden FCC was because let's face it, I mean, the Biden administration doesn't know anything. In fact, I was looking at a soundbite from one of the Pentagon spokespeople the other day, and they didn't even know how many troops they have in Syria. They say, oh, we've been quoting 900, but it turns out we have 2,200. So, we're trying to get to the bottom of that. I'm like, wow, you guys, I mean, it is so unbelievably bad. And then you look at this horrible situation that happened on the subway in New York. And I'm going to play you a little sound coming up in the show of Tom Holman, who is a total badass guy. He's like, I know him very well. I've known him for many, many years, and he's not messing around. And he is committed to making sure we fix this border and that we arrest people that are here illegally. So stuff like the Guatemalan migrant lighting up a woman on the subway who then later dies as a result of her injuries, that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, it's like the low-hanging fruit. And I get it. Like, things happen, right? But when someone's here illegally, maybe you ought to be making a bigger play. I digress. The point being, this administration is completely clueless. And now all of a sudden you get a team coming in that knows what they're doing, and they're not going to stand for it. So good luck, Whoopi. Good luck, Joy Behar. It's over. I mean, look, the handwriting's on the wall. Clearly something happened over on Fox, because a guy who was there 28 years is no longer. 28 years, helped build that network. And now he's saying goodbye.
This is it, the final segment. But today I also wanted to let you know this is my final show. I am leaving Fox. I've been planning this day for some time. This just seemed like a good time. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, nearly it's about time. After all, I've been doing this for nearly 3 decades here. You know, there are people working with me now who weren't even born when I started at Fox. That's how old I am. But I'm not leaving journalism. I'm just leaving here. But I'm forever grateful to my bosses here. They've been very good to me these many years and offered a very generous opportunity for me to stay years more. That's pretty amazing, considering the fact that, I don't know, I might have missed a day or two here and there, battling everything from multiple sclerosis and COVID to countless infections, even open heart surgery.
Here, just so you know, we understand what's what. And, you know, I wish Neil all the best. And look, if you're talented, you can make it on your own, right? What are we doing? Nearly $500,000, you guys? Nearly $500,000. No, not $500,000. I wish. 500,000 subs. 500,000 subs here on YouTube. We'll get there. Actually, we're doing very, very well as a business, and it's thanks to your commitment, and it's thanks to all the enthusiasm from every single one of you, because it's your commitment that's really made this work. And so I so appreciate that. But in terms of Neil, I think that, you know, maybe he goes over and starts a podcast, and we'll see how he does. It's not easy. Believe me, it's not easy. It takes a lot of commitment and a lot of discipline and willingness to do this through, you know, thick and thin every single day. But it also takes personality, and it takes a viewpoint. And the challenge he'll have is whether or not there's an audience there for his viewpoint. I think that he found that to be difficult, if you would, on Fox. And so he's just another example. Fox making a decision for business reasons, I suspect. That's usually why these things happen, right? I think they got rid of Tucker for business reasons. I don't think they wanted the heat they were getting from Schumer, so they fired him. I think that they got a lot of heat with yours truly because of some of the things I said back in March 2020, which I stand by. Look, they shut down the country for a reason, right? I mean, I didn't want Donald Trump to fall for it, but unfortunately, those were crazy times, and people didn't understand or know just exactly what was next. And so we closed down the country, and next thing you know, the Democrats ride it all the way to the ballot box. And so that was a business decision for Fox. So these are business decisions that are made. They made a business decision to get rid of Chris Wallace. And hey, by the way, Chris Wallace, they made a business decision to get rid of him again over at CNN after Trump won. So it's fascinating how this is all playing out. And the people that are really sort of in the lurch are those that were so gung-ho and so excited about Biden. They really look like the loser team. I mean, really, really the loser team. Who is the Democrat who went on Fox the other day and said that? Oh, this is a good soundbite. I'm going to play this for you because her name is Lindy Lee, and she's like, they're like covered in the stench of losers. Here we go.
I think, unfortunately, the Democratic Party has a stench of loser written all over the party. And I'm sorry. And I'm speaking as a Democrat myself. This brings me no joy to say it. But I feel like the Democrats are going to be consigned to the wilderness for at least the next 4 to 8 years. And Jeff Bezos is probably thanking his lucky stars that he withheld that endorsement. And they're doing everything they can now to continue the détente. Remember what Zuckerberg said on July 13th when in Butler, Pennsylvania, there was an assassination attempt. He praised President Trump for being a badass.
Let me ask you about this idea of going out there and sort of kissing the ring. I mean, you have Zuckerberg doing his thing, Bezos. And by the way, I was really surprised that he decided to stay out of the fray and not let the Post do that. But as it turns out, it was a pretty shrewd move. What do you expect will happen when they go there and they have these conversations?
I think they're going to solidify the relationship between the business world and President Trump. And right now, The economy is ailing under the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, people are just they're suffering. Yes, inflation has come down.
We're going to watch some more of that coming up because she's so right? The economy has been suffering. Listen, it's one of the reasons why I say make sure you diversify your portfolio. One of our great sponsors here on the Trish Regan Show happens to be American Hartford Gold. I want you to take a look at them. You might have a little time coming up over the holidays, so you can do some of this research. You can text my name to get up to $15,000 in free silver. Text Trish to 65532 or go to Trish Loves Gold today to get more information. TrishLovesGold.com. Just text Trish, TRISH, to 65532. You can call them at 1-844-495-1115. I'm a big believer in gold as a diversification strategy, especially with all the inflation we've had and expect to have over the next however many years. So this is one of the ways to hedge it.